Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm so happy to start this Tuesday with you. Hope everyone, many of us yesterday were celebrating Dr. King's life. So many amazing events that happened in our community to really focus us on his legacy. I hope you got to participate in one of them. We were proud sponsors of the Dr. Martin Luther King Birthday Committee's event, and it was fabulous. And it's still available for you to watch. You can just go to our website and go to the link, and you can watch it. Yesterday was another big day, though. It also was Betty White's birthday, and she would have been 100. And she is such a beloved woman, beloved figure, and in our worlds, in our country. And we know that she passed away just shy of her 100th birthday, but because people just wanted to tribute her the way that she really deserved, people used yesterday as a day to really honor her legacy and everything she lived for and stood for, by supporting animal rescues around the country. Mm-hmm. And, with that in mind, I had been thinking about what should we do to celebrate Betty White. And so I thought to myself, we know that we know from talking about her life, especially now after she's left us, that, she was an activist. She was an activist. She supported advocacy efforts, and she had lots of causes that were very important to her. And she not only did this as work, she lived her life in this way, in every way. And there's such inspiration in Betty White, and I think that's why people from all communities have really embraced her, because she really stood for something that each of us stood for. She stood up for racial justice. She stood up for women's issues. She stood up for what was, near and dear to her heart, which were animals and animal welfare. And again, so it seemed important to the YWCA of Northern New Jersey to tribute her in some way. So I couldn't think of a better way to do that, knowing that animals, and her love of animals started as a child and were central to her life, than by showcasing an animal rescue program. This one in particular, really stood out to me. For Betty White, we know as her career grew, her commitment to helping animals grew as well. She became an active volunteer. She was a donor to the Los Angeles Zoo and to the ASPCA. She was very connected to so many animal rescues throughout her adult life. And again, it just seemed like a great opportunity to lift up a local organization that is, really supported by volunteers, who have come together to lift up this work, much in the way that Betty White, stood, behind the organizations that she did. This tremendous group of people, and their wonderful president of their board, Donna Rasulo,
thank you,
is with us today, of the Rescue Haven Foundation. And for those of you watching, we're going to drop in the comments the link, the website, Rescue Haven Foundation, so you can go check them out. We also encourage you to follow them on Instagram under Rescue Haven, and follow their Facebook page. I have been a supporter of their work for years, and great opportunity for you to learn about them too. So let me tell you a little bit about Donna, and so that you meet her, another wonderful, amazing woman in our community doing great work. Then from there, let's talk about Rescue Haven in the spirit of lifting up Betty White. Donna helps animals get adopted and works to reduce cruelty, neglect, and overpopulation to ensure that more animals find loving homes. She first came to Rescue Haven Foundation, which was formerly known as Fern Dog Rescue Foundation, in January of 2013, to create and start a dog adoption and foster program. Since that time, they have adopted out 374 dogs. with over 40 foster homes that they're working with. Donna's concern and compassion for abused, injured, sick, and abandoned animals has always been the driving force behind what Rescue Haven is all about. She has spent many years on the front lines of animal rescue, both for fostering dogs and helping run other dog rescue organizations. She is a dog trainer and a behavior consultant. She is a dog walker. She is a pet sitter, also by profession. She's a New Jersey certified animal control officer, and she is Rescue Haven's adoption and foster coordinator. She is currently enrolled at Widener University, working towards her master's degree in social work. I have an MSW.
Do you? Oh, great.
Yes, we love more social workers into the mix.
Yes, they're needed.
Yes. And the work you're doing is case management 101 for sure.
Yes.
And so with that, along with Peter Kraft, who's watching, I say welcome, Donna. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting us on here. This is great.
Well, again, I couldn't think of a better way to tribute Betty White than to lift up an animal cause and lift up one that I know that there's so many wonderful volunteers and people, but, I know that there's some core women, at the group that help inspired this organization to come together. And, it just seemed like a great opportunity. And I just want to share to everyone, and you could think about doing it too. Yesterday, part of the Betty White Challenge was to put at least $5 is what, I saw, floating around, but a minimum of $5 in her name to find an animal rescue organization and to make a donation. I personally donated to Rescue Haven yesterday. I put it on my Facebook page, and about 4 or 5 of my friends also donated just by the mere act of doing that. And so I encourage all of you, you don't have, just because her birthday was yesterday, it's a great opportunity to celebrate Betty White's life and, find a rescue organization. Here's a great one for you to consider. There's so many wonderful ones out there doing tremendous work. But with that, Donna, tell me a little bit about your daily work at Rescue Haven and how, being president of the board has really allowed you to expand the services over there.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you again for having us. And just to say something, I did see a hashtag yesterday about Betty White. It's hashtag Be Like Betty. And I just feel like that's what everyone should do, because her love and compassion for animals and humans is amazing. So hopefully we can all be the same like her. So, but as far as the rescue, gosh, I mean, we do so much on a daily basis, and we are considered, at least we consider ourselves a small rescue. The maximum amount of dogs we'll take in, we try to keep it under 20, because we do like to be highly involved in the dogs that we rescue in our foster homes, be really involved in our adoptions, do really good, thorough behavior assessments before placing dogs, and really spend quality time matchmaking with families, and also our medical. We do, we just lost that precious boy that's on our Facebook page recently. But yeah, so the day-to-day includes so many things. Taking care of our foster dogs with their medical needs, medical appointments. We take a lot of medical cases. We do lots of training, phone support for our fosters, applications for adoptions, calling references. We do a lot of community work, social media. The day-to-day operations are extensive, and it's a lot of work, but we love it and we're passionate about it. Being the president for the rescue is really helpful for me, because I was involved in a lot of rescues and learned so much. But in that process, I learned what is valuable to me as a rescue volunteer, and that's the matchmaking and keeping it small and being a really good quality rescue. And so having that ability to run a rescue the way I choose to has been, really helpful in accomplishing the mission that we set forth.
Well, one of the things I love about your organization, and so many that are like yours, and of course my dog Buddy Bear decided to bark just as you
I
started
heard.
talking. So he wanted to get in the act.
It didn't even faze me, honestly.
I know. You're like, ooh, another dog around.
Yep.
But one of the things that I thought was so important to lift up and is so aligned with YWTV and what we're all about in terms of this Facebook Live show that we started is that anyone who has a passion, anyone who has an interest, what in terms of helping and taking their idea and developing it, can actually do that and turn it into something really impactful. Because there was a time that your organization and so many of you that I know that are connected to it, I know a few of your volunteers are your folks that love your animals and just wanted to make sure that there was a better place, and a safe place, for animals to go. And that wish and interest turned into a place that, as we started out talking about, helped place. Tell me the number again. Was it 374?
Yeah, which we're super proud of. We're very proud of that.
That's amazing when you think about impact that just someone's interest in wanting to help evolved into now all that you do. So for those of you watching, never feel like you can't take something and turn it into that next phase, because here's another perfect example of that.
Yep, definitely.
So there's a lot of pieces to what you do, right? And being a nonprofit organization, a fellow nonprofit, I can say I know that most of our organizations, doesn't matter what we do for a mission, but really run on two things. One is volunteers, and two is donations and money that comes in. Can you talk a little bit about those two areas? I know obviously Be Like Betty and the Betty White Challenge has probably been a tremendous influx of funds.
Yes,
for the organization, but I just want to make sure to remind our viewers that there's so many great causes out there. I mean, the YW is one of them, but there's so many great causes out there. And I always encourage people to find the one that really speaks to you and your values and support them. I mean, here's a great organization, doing significant work in the community. So tell us how people can support Rescue Haven and where you need the help.
Yeah. So, I mean, donations are always fantastic, obviously, especially when we have some medical cases, and we don't skimp on medical care. So whatever the cost is, it is. We use our same veterinary partner, Verona and Montclair Animal Hospitals. We've used them from day one. We have a great partnership with them. So that's where we get all of our medical care. So donations are helpful. Volunteers, I mean, we need volunteers and we need committed volunteers, and it's difficult. I know everybody wants to help. There's so many organizations outside of Rescue Haven that I say, oh, I want to volunteer there, but I know I don't have the time to do it. So it is hard to find time for people to volunteer, but volunteer doesn't have to be hours and hours a week. If someone can commit even 1 hour a week and say, hey, Donna, from 9 to 10 a.m. on Mondays, I can help screen applications. I mean, that's perfect. I mean, that is so helpful. An hour of someone's time is really all it takes. So finding volunteers and foster homes too that are, able to work with our dogs, that's really where, the components that keep us moving. I mean, without foster homes, we can't answer these multiple pleas for help that all rescues get a day.
So let's talk about that for anyone watching, right? And might want to consider being a foster home. What does that entail? What does that look like? And most of the fosters that you have, I mean, how did they get involved? What made them do it?
Yeah. Sometimes they find us on Facebook or friends that we know. So the initial process is filling out a foster application on our website, and that just asks some questions about what the person's looking for and do they have children. I know you and I had talked about having children and finding a match for that. So that's the same for our foster dogs. We want our foster dogs to go to a home where the children are safe, other pets are safe, and it's the right fit. So that's what the application's for. Then we do call references just to make sure their current pets are up to date. More so with rabies and that they're healthy. And then we call some personal references just to help us get to know the person better. We try to make it a painless process. And then I call, or we have some other volunteers who call the potential foster homes, and we explain the process of fostering. So, the time limit to have a foster dog in your home, it's hard to say. I mean, our policy is we don't even post our dogs for adoption for a minimum of 2 weeks, because it really takes time for a dog to come into our home, whether it's from a shelter, from the streets, or even an owner surrender, for us to get to know that dog before we even attempt to place them in a home. Like I said earlier, matchmaking is a huge priority for us. Our return rate is very low. And the few times we've gotten returns, it's behaviors we didn't know existed, or something happened to the family, they couldn't keep the dog. But we really try to matchmake our fosters as well as our adopters with the right dog. And then during the process, we cover all the medical expenses. We keep our fosters pretty local so they can use our veterinary hospital. If there's an emergency, of course, we have emergency protocols in place. As far as supplies go, I mean, my rescue partner, Robin, has a whole basement with tons of supplies, from everything from wee pads to crates to toys, treats. I mean, we have everything. So we supply the foster home with everything. They don't have to put out any money. Some like to pay for their own food and they use it as a donation, but we really supply every single penny. And then as far as any behavioral issues, I'm available. We are looking for some volunteer trainers as well to help me in that aspect. But we do provide training support and behavior support for all of our foster homes. And then anything they need, we're there. We're there from the minute they get the dog until that dog gets adopted. And that dog could be in their home for 3 weeks. It could be in their home for 6 months. I mean, it's hard to say.
So let's talk about that moment. I mean, I would imagine, and I kind of said this to you as we were getting on. I mean, I would be a foster fail over and over.
Yeah,
and over.
Very difficult to give them up.
How do you coach folks who want to get involved as fosters, but or struggle with that process of leaving?
Yeah. It's hard. Sometimes people do come to the foster program because they want to adopt. So they're going through this foster period to see if this could be the right match. So if it is and it works out, then that's wonderful. Of course, our fosters do have first choice in keeping the dog, even though we try to encourage them not to, because it's hard to get foster homes. But of course, if it's a match made in heaven and the dog is happy and the family is happy, that's most important. But we do provide support, and we do, I think when the application comes in for their foster dog, that's when they start. And I've done it. I didn't like the name of someone's street they lived on, and that was the excuse I used. I'm like, no, I can't have them live on Main Street. I don't want that street, because you get really attached and you come up with these crazy reasons that it's not a good fit. But it's just because we get emotionally involved. So we just really provide the support. We remind them how wonderful being a foster parent is, and how their volunteering and fostering has been a journey for that dog to find their forever home. My advice always is, when the day of the adoption, I always tell people, just say goodbye and don't look back, because if you look back and you see your foster dog looking at you, it's the hardest thing ever. But the beautiful thing is, we really have a close relationship with our adopters, and we try to. So a lot of them stay in touch with us. I mean, foster families and the adoptive families, sometimes they become really close friends and still see each other. So we do encourage that as well, as, just to try to stay in touch with everybody, because we want to know how our dogs are doing.
And I can attest from, being an avid follower on social media, is that you very often, over the years, I've seen the dogs that have been up for adoption. And then I see kind of the checkbacks, the photo every now and then from that dog in their adoptive home, and you guys post it, and it's just so nice to see, because I'll remember the dog from when it was.
It's important for us to follow them. We tell them every time that at the end of every adoption, we say, this dog is part of the Rescue Haven family for life. And we mean that. I mean, I've provided training. We've hired other trainers. If the adopter lives far away and they're having behavior problems, we've taken them to our vet and covered medical costs if something happened to the dog and they couldn't afford it. So we do really stay involved. And that's kind of, again, part of our mission, to keep things small and do really quality rescue. That's just how we choose to do it. Everybody runs their rescue differently, but this is our way.
Well, that it definitely shows in the impact. And again, good for our viewers to to hear, that that you support all of the costs when they come on as a
Yes.
foster related to caring for the short term. And, if a foster fail happens, a foster fail happens. But that I know that you can get overrun with applications at times,
Yeah.
for dogs. And so you definitely need that support to help with screening applicants and, finding volunteers for that end of as well, that kind of back end office stuff, which,
Yeah.
is just as key. And I know you also do a lot of great fundraisers throughout the year.
Yeah, we
Can you
do.
talk a little bit? I know you do Stretch Your Mud. I know you do the pictures with Santa, the pictures with the Easter Bunny. I know I
Yeah.
have so many of them in my collection from Chihuahua. Brutus is now passed on. But, we have so many great memories attached to knowing that we supported Rescue Haven was just, the icing on top.
Yeah. Yeah, we do our best. I mean, we have a lot of volunteers who are good at fundraising. So we rely on them to help us. That's not my area of expertise. Yeah. Give me a dog who's, barking nonstop and I can handle that with no problem, but tell me how to raise money. I stink at that. But yes, Strut Your Mutt's one of our favorites. That's usually in the fall, and that's our biggest fundraiser. And even with COVID, we've managed to reach our goal every year. So we're so thankful for that. And our pictures with like you said, Santa, those are like fun, but they do bring in money and they bring the community together, and we get to see past adopters. And we've actually gotten volunteers and fosters from those types of events. So they're really important for our organization.
I'm sure. And for our viewers, you can check out all of those events by, again, following them on their social media accounts and checking out their website. And, you also said, which I thought was, great, not only can people donate money, but you collect supplies, right? So if people wanted to support Rescue Haven by in-kind gifts, where can they find the list of items that you all are looking for so that they can make donations?
We do have them on our website. We also have Amazon wish lists. We have a general one. So if they go to Amazon and look under Rescue Haven, they can find that. Sometimes when we have fosters, they have specific things they like, certain toys, or they're on a special diet. So we create wish lists for most of our dogs as well. But yeah, they can go to our website or send us an email and say, hey, what do you need? I have some donations. So, and we'll pick them up. We really try to make it convenient for the donor.
That's great to know. And you mentioned earlier, and I just want to lift this up as well for our viewers to, to think about, because sometimes, if you want to support something, like a specific case, very often you have, I know that whether there was like the hurricane or during some of the major storms, or obviously through this time of COVID, when so many owners have passed away, I've seen that you've taken dogs. If people want to support, and then during that process that you find an animal that has a very specific medical need too, that you end up needing to care for, which can get very expensive. Any of us who have, had animals know that, it can get costly. Can you speak a little bit about your medical fund and how you support, individual medical needs that pop up for your your pups as they're kind of coming in before they're placed?
Yeah. Well, we try to, if we know we're taking on a medical case or we have a dog with us that we didn't know, we took the dog and we brought to the vet and has some medical. We do try to highlight that particular dog and try to say what the cost would be and the money we need. And, we try to keep everybody updated as well, because we want people to know where your money goes. I mean, you donate to an organization, no matter what it is, and you don't hear anything, you don't get any, you don't even know if they got your donation half the time. And we really try to make sure that our donors know that we got their money. We thank them. Robin is fantastic at sending personal thank you. She sends tax receipts at the end of every year. I mean, that takes her weeks on end to do. But we do try to highlight those particular medical needs. And when we tell the support, and the money does go 100% to that. So if we're raising money for, we're taking in a new dog, Vicky Angel, we've named her after an old Betty White, one of her older movies. She's got some medical things. So when we do post her, once we get her to our vet, we will ask for money for her, and that money will go directly to her.
So tell us about the Betty White Challenge and, what you've seen in the last few weeks related to that.
Yeah, well, it's such a beautiful concept. Whoever thought of that. Of course we miss her, but her legacy is living on. And I see so many organizations getting donations from this, and it's amazing. I mean, I've seen some rescues get $15,000, and it's so fantastic that the generosity of people came out with this. And we did very well. We extended our goal multiple times throughout the day yesterday because we didn't expect a tremendous amount, because we just didn't. We just thought, okay, we'll put $1,000, and whatever we get, we're always thrilled. And the number kept going up. And I think the last I checked, there were over 110 donors. So that's like, it's emotional for us because it's such a good cause. And Facebook is allowing all those donations. They're not taking any fees out. So every penny is going to dogs. So we're going to use that for, we've gotten probably 10 pleas in the past 24 hours. Sometimes we get more, but we're going to help a couple of those dogs with that money, and that's where the money's going to go. So it was a very successful day, and we're thrilled and blessed with all these wonderful supporters.
Well, I'm so glad. And I was watching the goal go up for your organization. I was watching a few others that friends of mine were attached to, and it was overwhelming. And, again, from someone who's have my career in the nonprofit sector, it was thrilling to watch too, because it's so hard sometimes to get the community to rally around and support, such important causes, because there are so many, competing and obviously right now people have so much pulling at them, but it's just so wonderful to see people come out and, like you said, be like Betty, for sure. So, as we're closing out our time, Donna, could you talk a little bit about what's next for Rescue Haven? I know that, as you said, you've intentionally kept it small so that you could really, keep watch on those adoptions to really, make sure that they're successful and that you really can support all the, the dogs that you keep in the organization. But what's next? What's next for you and your team?
Well, we're certainly going to continue. I mean, our mission will stay the same. I mean, I think a lot of rescues' fantasy is to have some type of facility or some place to house more animals. And, that's part of our dream as well, because the more we can save, the better. But, going back to needing volunteers, we need volunteers to run that. It's very difficult. I mean, all of us and other rescues, we have jobs and families and lives. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I have a business. I'm in my master's program. I'm doing an internship 16 hours a week and running the rescue. And I do some real estate on the side. I mean, my life is, and I have a family and I have my own pets, so it's really busy for all of us. We all have a lot of other things. So having more volunteers, we could do more work, but we still are always going to keep it good quality adoptions and community work. That's our mission, and that will never change. But the more dogs we can save, of course, the better.
Well, Donna, thank you. And of course, Robin, who I know, and the whole team at Rescue Haven for protecting our furry friends out there and giving them a second chance at a new life. The stories are endless, that I've seen connected to Rescue Haven and of course other organizations like yours, and what important work, that you do. We know the benefits that, and my pup is sitting at my feet right now. But we know the benefits that they bring to our life.
Yes, definitely.
And it's just a gift to be able to, match them and bring that joy the way that you do with such care. For anyone who wants to learn more about Rescue Haven or support their work in some way as a volunteer by providing some kind of in-kind donations, which again, you can go to their website, see their Amazon wish list for specific dogs and for the organization. Or if you'd like to make a donation, whether it's to the Betty White Challenge or just in general to the organization, the link to their website is here in the comments. Again, I do encourage you to follow them on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. They're just a fun page. It always leaves you with a good feeling, whether it's a funny cartoon or a story about a pup. It's definitely something that when you're scrolling past will lift your spirits, and so definitely connect with them. And many thanks to again you and your entire team.
Yes,
there. And for our viewers, be like Betty. Be an activist, be an advocate. stand for what she stood for, because that's what YWCA of Northern New Jersey stands for. And we couldn't think of a better way to celebrate her life and celebrating an organization that I know that she would have loved and appreciated. And clearly your mission is something that she dedicated her life to.
Yes, thank you so much.
You are welcome. And with that, folks, we hope you join us on Thursday for our Share the Mic Now, which is when we take this platform and share it with Black women in our community to lift up and share their stories. And we'll have Denise Ford Sawadago on at 11 a.m. And on Friday, we have Audrey Zona on at 11 a.m. And we're going to be talking a little bit about kind of some healthy eating that we could be thinking about doing. I know everyone always starts to, come out of the park on January 1st with New Year's resolutions. I'm one that likes to wait till like January 20th because it gives me a few weeks to ease into it. So I'm looking forward to talking to Audrey on Friday, and I'm sure she's going to give us all some helpful tips about just living a healthier lifestyle. And with that, we hope you have a great day. And Donna, thanks again. It's really nice spending some time.
Oh, thank you. Same here.
Bye, everyone. Be well.
Bye. Thank you.